Hello and welcome. We have Ben Oostervled with us from Canada. How are you, Ben?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Thanks for having me
Cool.
on your show.
I'm really excited that you're here, and I'm really grateful that you're here too. You are the president and CEO at the Business from Within. You also have you've got. Let's just put it out there so we've got some clarity because
Sure.
you've got a couple of different businesses, a couple of different
Yeah,
tracks.
I do.
I'm going to ask you to just explain those in a second. But what we're
Sure.
hoping for today is to talk about how to build a life you love and how to really get huge success in your business by focusing on yourself and
Yeah.
actually, getting it right from within. And if we can get it right from within, then we're on the right track to really make a huge difference in business. Is that right, Ben?
Yeah. Every race car needs a good driver, right?
So that's where we need to focus.
Yeah.
So
A good driver can win a lot of races with a lot of cars, but a really, really, really fast race car or a great business doesn't necessarily mean it can win, but always needs that driver. We spend too much time on hows, and hows keep us stuck.
So, just for the audience that's listening right now, and by the way, please welcome if you're on Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, we're live right now on LinkedIn, we're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook. If you're listening, you're on our podcast, which is pre-recorded, so you won't be quite live with us on the podcast. But if you're live with us right now, please do feel free to ask questions. Drop some comments if you've got anything that you want to ask us at all. Ben, tell us about the two different businesses that you're involved in.
Yeah, business from within is strictly focusing on executives, business owners. I have a high ticket mastermind group. It's a small group of business owners I mentor for a year at a time. It's usually sold out, invite only kind of thing. We go on 2 retreats, and it's really a deep dive into what you want, who you are, and how the heck you're getting in your own way. And so that's a huge passion. We've also just opened up retreats for anybody. That used to just be inside my mastermind. So we have retreats. And so that's really working on the families and the executives of these business owners. And a lot of work I do is with real estate agents. It's an industry where everyone grinds themselves to death. Relationships get broken. They're taught to sell, sell, sell. And that eventually leads to burnout and a lot of broken relationships. So help that industry work from turning them in from hustlers to business owners. But at the end of the day, it's about growing the human. It always is. And to build a life you love is the end mission.
And we're going to go right back because we want to talk about you and how you've got here. But just before we get to that, one of the things that got you into building the life you love was you were just telling me just a few minutes ago in the green room around you sort of chasing money, left, right, and center. But then, causing quite a problem at home. Just help explain, because that then leads into being able to stand back and realize, hang on a minute, I need to look at family first. So tell us just a bit about that.
Like I think if I go way back, bad childhood.
Or should we start at the beginning then? Let's start at the beginning then.
Even quickly, because it matters, our stories, which we move past from so quickly a lot of times because we don't know what to do with it. So why? Let's just go forward, right? But the thing is, our history still creates a lot of our future. And so I did chase it. If you break down what it was, a lot of it was just not feeling valuable, broken, never feeling worthy, all this stuff that we see on memes all the time that people love talking about, but they don't know how to fix. And so I was driven because I found where I felt I was valuable was in sales. So when I found that, I thought instead of just going for one sale, I'll go for 1 billion sales. And I felt like I was great at making money, and I felt good about myself for the first time in a long time because I got recognition and I got image. And so long story short, I've gone through a lot of selling, I did real estate investing. I owned like 60 properties at one point, and then moved into real estate coaching and had quite a high performance life. I've got some pretty big stats behind my name and awards. And because if I wasn't number one, there was no other option, Johnny. Like there was something in my psyche from my childhood that needed to be addressed because it was saying, if you're not number one, you're nothing. It was like this weird dichotomy, a very difficult person to have a relationship with because you have to win all the time. anyways, I had a deep heart for my family, my kids, loved them, and I worked really hard. But yeah, I chased, man. I won it. I beat the game compared to most people. Like, there's lots of guys way bigger than me and done bigger things, but for the average dude, I've won the game. I just remember though, I was always a good guy though, with problems, not a bad guy. Like, I was always a good guy with some problems, and good. And so I came home one day, and this is when I became a real estate agent just to prove my coaching system, and worked. I ended up selling over $1.1 million, paid out commissions my first couple of years, and come home one night, and my wife sits me down and says, Ben, I'm tired of chasing you all over the place. We're moving from city to city. We're changing all the time. And she goes, I'm done. And to be honest with you, I've been done for a while. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, I want to separate. And I was blindsided, because you know why? Because I didn't hear her. I didn't even know what it meant to hear a human being, because I always had an agenda. I always pushed my thing, and I was in my mind doing it admirably. That's a word. Anyways, my wife sat me down, and I remember just getting crushed emotionally, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I laid there and cried, and I said, I fucked up. I didn't know it. I said, I've been doing everything in my life for you and the kids. And I had created this illusion that I had convinced myself that everything I did, all those 20-hour days, all the money I made, the holidays I paid for, the house we lived in, never having to work, always taking care of my kids, whatever they wanted, they can have. I thought that was what they wanted. And man, was I wrong. She sat down and she goes, I don't want any of that stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? I do everything for you guys. And I love you. And you know, I love you. And if you looked at my social media, it looked like we had a perfect family, because we're, you know, that's just how it works. Oh yeah, Ben's out taking another date night with his wife, but there's another story going on. And I didn't even know that story was happening. And I remember the day, and I remember sitting there crying and saying, I fucked up. And I think that was the first time in my life, my wife goes, I think I believe he actually sees it now. And I actually pulled off YouTube. I changed my ambitions. I changed, and I really focused on building a life I love from that day forward. And I kind of was already, but completely blind to it. It was what I wanted, but we've retooled everything. We retooled everything. And my wife and I are legitimate best friends now. This year will be 20 years married. I got 5 kids. And I'm committed the rest of my life to helping hustlers turn into business owners, to help people build the life they love, because I realized that day I had already won the game, Johnny. Because when I got out of, here's a story, I got out of 365 days of rehab when I was 17 years old to 18 years old. And when I got out of rehab, I had this weird feeling of going, with the perspective of how I lived for so many years, just painful street life, is I walked out of that rehab center saying, if I could just have a wife that loves me and kids that run to the door, I said, I think that's all I'd need to be happy for the rest of my life. And I lost track of how simple happiness was. I lost track of how what I wanted didn't cost anything. And it got all messed up. So, you know, I figured it out a lot right now, a lot of it. I got to remember sometimes when I slip into chasing, because the shadow chases you sometimes, but it's good now. And I think that's a message that we want to spread, is that you, to get what you want, is maybe not as hard as you think.
I think a lot of would be able to relate to your story. I think that I reckon it's quite easy to what your family wants and you're providing, and I get it. So how, I mean, well, how now do you not chase? Because you were sometimes, how do you stop yourself from chasing? Because even I can relate to that.
Yeah. You know what? I ask myself every day, what do I want? And I ask myself, what activities am I doing each day? Is it taking me closer to what I want or farther away than what I want? Johnny, I'm not connected to anything. Like, I live in an amazing place, but I'm willing to go live on the streets again. Like, I have this weird detachment now. Like, I really would. Like, dude, I'd be running a show. I'd be building an audience from the streets or something. I don't know. I'm pretty ambitious. But the thing is, I'm willing to let go. Like, I would cancel this show right now, jump off halfway, let you down, Johnny, so I can take care of my family. it's a really interesting thing. Like I still see it. My kids still come talk to me and I'm watching a very important TV show and they're saying, hey dad, how about this? And I give them an answer, but I didn't hear them. And so I really work on the connection. And I think at the end of the day, Johnny, if we're chasing, the problem's not anywhere but within ourselves. What that means is I'm not enough. Like if we could describe what it means, what is your enough? Like that's we don't have that. If you don't have an enough, what's the enough? It's like this. It's like you have a boat with a leaky boat and you're trying to travel through life with a leaky boat. It's like, what is enough? Like when have we won the game? And so an analogy, I'm a big hockey fan and you can think football, baseball, cricket. I don't care. Use whatever sport you want. Every sport has a sense of overtime. Like, you know, the time where like in hockey, it's tied 3-3, 60 minutes of time has passed. And now they got to play 5 minutes. And then it goes to a shootout. And that's how the game works. That 5 minutes is when you play a different style of game. You know that if you got a pulled groin, doesn't matter. If you got a broken finger, stick it in the glove and go score a goal. And this is the mentality that I took in life. And I think a lot of executives, CEOs, chasers, hustlers do this because they don't know what they want. And they didn't realize they had already won the game. And so I used to live my life in overtime thinking if I pulled back at any second, if I didn't keep my momentum going, to keep the algorithm going, to keep doing those sales calls, to keep building the next vision, to grow bigger goals, I would lose the game. And that was the illusion. The reality was I was trying to fill an emotional problem with a business solution. And this is two completely different problems to solve with different tools. And so this is, I think about what I want every day. And I let go of things that get in the way because I like who I am now. I know I'm valuable. It's not a wonder if I am. I got nothing to prove, Johnny. I really don't. We shit the same way everyone else shits. It's just how it is.
Well, I mean, the fact is, as you say, it's in the numbers because not only have you managed to be in a position where you can focus on your family and love the life you live, create a multi-million-dollar real estate business, and so there's some amazing figures behind. I'm assuming that in the number of business owners that you've managed to help as well, there must be some good stats and numbers there in terms of the sort of revenues that they've been able to generate. Leaving, is there anything you can share with us there?
Sure. You know what? It's funny. We have this metric of revenue. Like it's natural, right? We get it. It's like we want to grade everything on the revenue, and it's the wrong metric. It's a side effect.
I knew you were going to pull me up on that the moment I said the word.
No, but it's I don't want to demonize it. Like I don't mind. I'd like to swim in money. I have no problem with it. Like I want to be super wealthy the rest of my life. But the thing is though, we have that as a metric, as too many things are metriced on that. That's all. Like it's a very important metric, but not on building a life you love. Like we need more metrics than that. So let's think about this. Let's say a guy I mentored, he's a real estate agent, okay? And he had these weird goals. He wanted 6 months away of the year. So anyone, even if it's not a real estate agent, an executive, a business owner, I want 6 months away of the year. He had these massive goals, but they weren't his goals. They were just an idea. They didn't even know if he's never tested his goals. He didn't even know what he wanted. He was young. He ended up going on one of my retreats. I worked with him. And what happened was I asked him, I said, have you ever spent 2 weeks away or even a month away? He goes, no. I said, how do you know you want to go for 6 months? As we started working through this process, we had to tear down these giant goals that weren't his, that gave his value to his father, to different things in his life that was driving him to have these massive goals. Now, what's ironic is today he makes more money than he's ever made in his life. He's got 4 staff. He's got a team. He literally took a month off to take care of his newborn baby. That's 3 years after working with him. But before, he was going after all these massive goals and not getting them. And they were just a heavy pressure. When he let go of the goals and got more aligned to what he wanted, which is what he wanted was he wanted to be happy. He wanted to be a dad. He also wanted to be a business owner. He's got a nice real estate portfolio of investments now. But what he built was he built something that wasn't just tied to some massive goal that wasn't his. So he actually came back from going on my retreat, spending another week or 2 with his wife away. He added that to the trip, came back and he goes, yeah, just so you know, I don't want to go away for 6 months. Like he would have built an entire business and then got that goal and then hated it. He didn't want to be away that long. So I think that's just one story is that if we can figure out what you want, but then test it. We don't test the goal. So what my theory is this. Let's say you want to take, it's very simple. You want to take 6 months of the way a year. Great. Start with 3 weeks. Start with one night. My thing is, it doesn't matter financially where you're at. We delay so long that we never test our goals. And then God forbid you get the goal and you don't want it. Like what a waste of a life. So my thinking is start today and test your goal. And so what it is like this. If you want to be an actor, okay, then do it. It's 1 day of acting. I have a guy that I worked with. He's a super successful business guy. We worked on a session called Setting Your Compass, where you ask what really test your goals. It's a process I take people through, and it gets them very clear on what they want. And he found in his heart, hidden in his heart, embarrassed about it, he wanted to be a singer. We're talking like a rough and tough guy. Like he wants to be a singer. There's no way that you look at this guy and like, that guy's a singer. So guess what he did? He got over himself, got out of his own way and started getting the life he wanted. You know, judgment aside, it's his deal. Whatever he wants. It could be a painter. I don't care what it is. It could be whatever. He goes in, he hired a singing coach. Now, what I've seen 100 times is that once you start living the life that you want today in some form, it doesn't have to be perfect, but in some form, there you go today and start living. You know what happened? He goes, Ben, I can't believe how easy it is to get over my fear. He goes, now that I've done this singing thing, which he's now online singing, he came on my retreat, he sang. It's like he's just a new man. But what's interesting is the side effect is everything in his life is getting affected. His business, his team, his numbers, his ability to manage, all of it, because we were withholding the life that was designed to, like, why does he want to sing? I don't know, but we got to be ourselves. And I think it starts there. And then the trickle effect is that all of this, like he knows how to get over things that hold him back. He's less scared. He dealt with conflict. He dealt with rejection, all because he, instead of going at it like a therapist, we go at it going, what do you want? Let's start now. And it's a back door to breaking through the psychological barriers because we're never giving the life we want. We're just chasing the life we want. Just start living today.
And how easy, I mean, you're making it sound quite easy. How easy is it to actually, you know, start living the life today?
Well, it's easy like losing weight. Just don't eat and exercise. And so, yeah, it is simple, but we need help getting out of our own way. That's what I do for a living. And so a lot of times, here's the issue, okay? Therapists, counselors, coaches, all these people. Know what they don't do? They don't call you out on your bullshit enough. They don't call you out, look you in the eye and say, Johnny, you're not being you. I don't believe what you're saying and I make you mad. I risk, like what I would do is risk the relationship that you would hate my guts, but I'm empathetically calling you out to be you. And I think that's what's missing in like therapists and all these people that are helping people. They're doing like, well, no, let's not get you too excited. Okay, see you next week. Let's work. No, I'm like, you're full of shit. Get over it. Like sometimes we have to be challenged. And the greatest breakthroughs I've ever had with someone is through challenge. We talk about breakthrough. Wow. So do you know what a fucking breakthrough is? Know what it is? It's take a piece of wood and break it. That's brutal. Do you know how brutal a breakthrough is? And we've made this thing such a fairy tale. Oh my goodness, had another breakthrough. It's like, fuck, dude, I just did another breakthrough. It almost killed me, but I'm free now. And now I can live. So I think we have to understand that the breakthrough, there's a challenge that happens. So people, it's very easy if you're willing and you have someone that can see who you really are, that does not have an agenda to sell you shit, upsell you shit, and all this crap that's out there. To have someone that doesn't have an agenda, that gets off on helping people for real, that's willing to call you out to be who you're designed to be.
So you talk about retreats, you talk about setting a compass. What does what's the typical process look like, Kelsey?
Yeah, so retreats, the retreat process is 4 days. So here's the psychology. We're so freaking uptight. We walk around like we got something jammed in our ass, and we're just so uptight because we haven't lived the life that we wanted to live. We're busy in war mode, in building mode. We're busy trying to find a way to make a connection with another human being, but I'm too freaking busy. And so what happens is the first thing in our retreats is we got to have some fun. So whether it will be like we get real quick, we start with real conversations, but we want to have fun. There is such a powerful psychology. Like imagine if me and you had a bitterness toward each other. Okay. Say we're brothers and we're like, over the years, it's just slowly got to us. Okay. And now every time I see you, I'm like, fuck, there he goes again. And we do these, it's kind of like so far gone that if I said, let's make up, it would be just this heavy, hard conversation. But what if I said, Johnny, let's go skiing for 3 days? After the 3 days is what we do is we dig in to what holds you back, because you know how easy it is that me and you go skiing for 3 days and we're like, why are we being so stupid? Let's just be friends. It's so easy to let go. And that's why the retreats are so important, because we're holding on to stuff. We're not seeing clearly under massive pressure. We need to connect to who we are and remember who we are. And so the retreat is designed specifically for adventure and heavy, deep conversations. But we're not sitting there in therapy the whole time. We're having a blast. We're cooking together, cleaning together sometimes. It's just this place of that you can't hide. There's a weird psychology, okay? You get these people that want to be famous influencers. They want to be like leaders, CEOs. But what if the insane thing is that means they're going to be seen? The very thing that people want, they're scared of. It's so crazy. When I work with someone, I'm like, let's talk your personal stuff. No, let's just keep it business. What the fuck? You want to be famous? Do you want to be seen? Do you want to be a top executive? Do you want to lead a team? You're going to be seen, and you can't even talk to me about you? I'm like, we have a psychological problem here, because everything you do will be self-sabotage, because you won't make that Facebook video. You won't do a presentation to your company. You won't act like, it'll just be all about hiding. And so this is why psychology plays out in business. It's the greatest loss of income, hands down. There's nothing more. And these are the psychological things that happen. So the retreat, you get seen in a way that, but when you get seen in the first time, a lot of times in your whole life, that it's the safest environment you've ever experienced in your life, that you actually can be seen. And it's wonderful. See, in an environment where you feel like you can't be seen, as a lot of them are families, businesses, but if you have to get the reference point of what it means to be seen. And that's what we do at the retreat. So that's the retreats. And that's obviously close to my heart. You can tell I can't create the impact without it.
And one of the things you talk about is authentic goals versus adopted goals. And I guess that that process helps you formulate what the real goals are, and not what you think, because you see other people and think other people are trying to strive for whatever. It's trying to get that authenticness. And what are some of the have you got any sort of little tips and tricks potentially for if you're listening now, to maybe go away, and maybe it's an exercise, maybe it's a reflection, maybe it's something to do? Is there anything that they could do to try and start formulating those authentic goals?
I had a mentor, Philip McKernan, who taught me a little basic strategy, and I've used it ever since. Write down the 5 happiest days of your life. And know it's that can be hard for some people, which is weird, right? Like why, what's wrong with that? So that's one tip that someone can do. Obviously, there's a process to working through it. That's where the coaching and the support comes in to really dissect that stuff. But that's on your own. That's a really neat exercise. The other exercise is this. If you want to know where to start getting yourself out of your own way, look at your reactions. Okay. So here's an example. Okay. A reaction versus a processed thought. So if I was to say fall over off my chair, but you were in arm's reach of me, you wouldn't think, you wouldn't do anything. It would be an instant reaction, correct? You'd be like, oh, and you try to catch me. And so just to establish what a reaction is. So what we also do is when someone talks to you about something that you might not like, or if you get I call them triggers. And so what happens is that you get this reaction, and it's not like you're like, hey! Oh, where'd that come from? So what's happening is your psychiatric or psychology, your subconscious is giving you an indicator. That's the area to look. Why did I react that way? Why did I react when my wife says I'm working too much? Why did I react when, like, what are these reactions? And if we want to truly grow, first of all, get clear on what makes you happy, and then find out what you're doing each day and how much it is or isn't the things that actually make you happy. You're living your dad's life, your mom's life. You know how many ethnic people I work with that are immigrants coming over to Canada and even into the US that have this mission of becoming an engineer, a doctor, and all these things, right? And I understand that. That's powerful. But if it's not yours, like, I'm intimidating a lot of times because I'm going, people think I'm challenging them when all I'm saying is that yours. Like, you have an adopted religion, you have an adopted culture. You're in the United Kingdom, I'm in Canada. We both have belief systems that we adopted from our country of how life works. And if we can't get clear on what we want, we need to start tearing down everything we believe. Religion, your belief systems, what you think about women, what you think about men, what you think about being a good person is. Everything gets torn down, and you find out, what do I really believe? Because now I can have my subconscious examined. But I like the idea of going after the reaction in you. Like when you react to something, you're like, okay, something's out of place there. It's like someone's feeling your body and they hit that one knot and you're like, ah! That's what happens from the subconscious, is through reactions. I'm just going to, give me 1 second. I'm going to plug in here. I should have plugged in earlier. 1 second.
Yeah, sure. I loved the sound effect that we just had then. But wow. I mean, this Ben is seriously passionate, isn't he? And he, you know, being able to really get to the bottom of things, to really focus on what's important. And you know, I think a lot of people don't focus on the right things. So yeah, I was loving the screen that you did just then. the passion is brilliant. I mean, you know, the passion is just unbelievable, and that has obviously come from seeing this work. Yeah. So what other things should business owners consider when they're looking to change habits, or you know, you were talking about it's just trying to sort of put something in place so that you can change today, or start living correctly today. So it's all about making decisions then, I assume.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
And it's
100%.
And it's, you know, why is that in my diary? What am I actually doing? What should I be focusing on? In fact, one of the things that you talk about is focusing on referrals, not sales.
Yeah. So from a basic business standpoint, using psychology has given me such an open door for business, because when you're thinking about marketing and you're thinking about sales, you're thinking about leadership, you're thinking about managing, every single thing comes back to human psychology. But what's interesting is human psychology is not the first place you look when you're looking at building a business. You're looking at, you know, marketing funnels. You're looking at digital marketing specialists. Like, it's a big deal. There's a lot of things to do, but we don't look at the psychology of relationship. What's interesting is that in especially in real estate agents, there's no training on relationship, which it's so goofy because it's a relationship business. And it's like, you take the course, and this can go to any business, any single business. We're a relationship company. I'm like, great. What's your divorce rate in your office? Oh, it's about 50%. Okay, so you're obviously the same as everyone. Like, how are you a relationship company? Like, do you understand what does it mean to have an actual relationship? What does that mean? So looking at business, why I say go after the referral, not the sale, is because sale is going to be transactional and it's going to be all about me. If I go after the referral, I'm going to serve you differently. I'm going to create different missions and statements and beliefs in my culture around my company, that it is about the people. Of course, you need to know your financial metrics and you need to be a business person. But the thing is, if we focus strictly on sales, you risk that you can't risk the relationship. So I look at it this way. I'll use real estate because I do a lot of the real estate work, okay? Or even financial planners, executives, whatever business it is. I look at it like this. Our goal would be this. This is in my head. Would your mom Let's just imagine you got a great relationship with your mom. Obviously, there's some people that wouldn't like this example because they don't like their mom. But the most people, if their mom was looking to use your company, let's say for a real estate agent, would the real estate agent have to be interviewed? Like, would the mom interview 3 real estate agents? They would never interview. They just use the real estate agent because it's their freaking son. Even if he was shit, he would still be the choice. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, so here's the thing. Can you say that your clients will react the same way in your company? Can they say, I don't have to explore other options because I have an emotional connection with them? Do you understand the power of client and employee retention when you have an emotional connection to them? We're too busy training our staff when you should be focused on what is it going to take to change their lives. If you can, as a company, change your employees' lives, they will never leave you. And we're so worried about benefits and all this bullshit. I remember my dad. He came down the road when I was about 13 years old. By that time, didn't like the guy. Literally, I won't even get into it because I'm friends with him now, and I'm good friends with him now, and I love him. But there was a time I would mind him die. I was at that place when I was a troubled teen. But he comes home. And I was young, like early teens. And he comes home and he says, I got you a red bike. And I looked at him so angry. I was so angry at him because he got me the red bike, but it made him a good dad. It wasn't about me. It made him feel like a good dad. I didn't understand that back then. But the giving to your employees, to your staff, to your clients, it's the same thing as my dad giving me that bike. My dad gave me the bike because he wanted to feel like a good dad. That's nothing to do with me. So what happened was I just wished he would sit down and play freaking Nintendo Mario Brothers with me. And he never did. I just wish he would have sat down and asked me what I wanted to do with him. And so why don't we take these lessons, put them into business? If we get the emotional connection with our clients, if we get our emotional connection with these people, they don't leave. And they stay with you. They work hard. They become like your mom choosing the business. They don't have to choose anymore. It's just who we use.
What a great analogy. I love it. This leads me on to just perhaps even summing up. If I was looking to really create much better relationships with my clients,
yeah.
I'm sure you must have some tips in there. Let's talk about
some of the clients, your wife, your friends, your kids. You know what we start with? Honesty. And so here's honesty. Okay. If there's so many layers, Johnny, we could do a 10-part special on this. But I think the one thing we are scared of, and there's a lot of reasons why, is we won't tell people the truth. Now watch this. Okay. Watch this. Oh no, we're doing good. I feel great. Yeah. No. Yeah. It was great. Yeah. So we have this mentality of political correctness. We have these mentality of protecting the emotions of the other person, which is bullshit because you just don't want to feel uncomfortable when they get upset. So what happens is, like, for example, what happens is, let's just make it a very simple example in business. Okay. You're meeting a client, but let's just imagine it's a lady that forgot to put on her makeup. So let's call that your insecurity. Let's call that your inner game. And so what happens is you sit at the table, right? You're at the boardroom table, you're at a kitchen table, whatever place you're at, you're presenting a deal. It could be in front of 1,000 people, but you know, in the back of your head, I don't feel as pretty today because I've got my mask off. Holy shit, I can't hide. And so what happens is in this meeting, they still try to hide. And so what happens, and it gets weird because every time they look at their face, you're gonna play music to this moment or what? So every time they look at that lady's face, she gets in her head. She gets in her head and she thinks, oh, they're looking at my face. They're wondering why I'm not wearing makeup. Oh my goodness. But it has nothing to do with their clients. This inner game of insecurities happening. And she's trying to manage this meeting while still being in her head, not fully engaging, not reading the play of what this client needs to blow their minds and serve them. She's busy about worrying about her inner game that she's trying to hide. Now, here's the thing. No problem, right? No problem. We're all the same. But here's the cost. The cost is that client looks her in the eye and says, she's really nice. She's wonderful, but there's something about her. I think I'm going to go somewhere else. Can't put my finger on it. Know what it was? You can't trust her because she's hiding something. So in a business relationship, in a wife relationship, in a friend, when you hide, you are going to create an energy of mistrust at a subconscious level that is going to be a very, very low hum. It's not going to be a liar. It's not going to be a non-trustworthy person, but there's just not showing me the whole deal. So I can't trust because my story is there's a lot of freaking people that hurt me in my life. And I can't risk opening up to you because you're not showing me who you are. So I'm going to open up 80% while you're doing 80%. I'm not going to go that way. You got to find out, what if she walked into that meeting and says, guys, you're not going to believe it. I was so focused on prepping. I got lost in the meeting preparing for this. I literally jumped in my car and I don't have any makeup on. So if you were thinking of a pretty lady showing up here, I got something else to tell you. Let's get into the game. What would happen?
Very different. Very different indeed.
They would trust her.
Yeah.
They would see her confidence, because confidence is when you're comfortable with your imperfections.
Ben, this has been brilliant. we could easily do a 10-parter, and I am left wanting to know so much more, but I'm also conscious of time.
Yeah.
It's been really good. If people are listening, maybe real estates, maybe even if they're in North America. I mean, I know you're worldwide, you're digital, but where should they be going to find out more? Just give me some signposts in terms of websites.
BenOostervled.com is the simple BenOosterveld.com. That's the doorway to everything I do. I'll always keep that and I'll always keep it going. So but retreats will never change. We have a really great program for real estate agents. And what's funny is I get a lot of business guys that want to go through that program. We are niched out very strategically that way, but I know this is an evergreen time. My end game is not just real estate. That's why we work with executives. We have a mastermind group, and that's what we're into. So BenOostervled.com.
Thank you so much. And if you've been listening, if you've been watching, if you've got more questions, please do leave comments. We'll try and get them answered afterwards. And Ben, thank you so much for your time. It's been brilliant. And I've loved hearing your story. Thank you. Good luck and keep it going. So see you all soon. Take care.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny.